let's go to College Station, Texas, where two teams, in my opinion, neither of them looked great. Here's what I'll say about Notre Dame that they did well. That secondary is awesome. They
Yep.
were really good, and they were able to run the ball explosively. And for the most part, keep Ryan Leonard clean. For the most part, I think Ryan Leonard did a really good job getting rid of the football early and being on time in that offense, despite having some pressure with that brand new offensive line of his. But they kind of held that defensive line at bay. But the story of the night was, Connor Wigman just playing the worst game that we have ever seen him play. And it's not even close, quite frankly. He was last in all of college football. And not necessarily PFF grade, which I know people are talking about, but time to throw 3.65 seconds to throw. He was last in college football this week. That's not normal for Connor Wigman. Last year, now I know it's a different offense, 2.5 seconds, right? That's a great get rid of the football. He had clean pockets. He just was very uncomfortable, man. And I don't know if this was him coming off of an injury. I know wide receivers weren't exactly creating a ton of separation, but aside from that, he missed throws. He missed
Yeah.
throws. He was off time. He was off target. Yeah, I think the story of the game is just Connor Wigman. And we'll talk about why there's still reason to be optimistic about him heading forward, but just blunders by him, man. Complete, utter blunders.
Well, listen, to me, this is Notre Dame. You mentioned defensive backfield. It's a good defense. And now a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's a top five, one of the best defenses in the country," and I think it could be for sure. But
Maybe.
I do want to pump the brakes on that just a little bit. Wigman missed some throws. He had some injuries. Obviously, Le'Veon Moss was there, and he played okay for sure, but wasn't like he was special. And we like the A&M receiver room, but Noah Thomas having one catch, that can't happen. And I don't know if that's Wigman. I don't know if that's him or the cornerbacks for Notre Dame. This is a Notre Dame team that held USC and Ohio State last year to their one of their lowest scoring outputs all year, and they did it again to A&M on the road, and it was super impressive. To me, I texted Matt. I texted you, and I was like, "Is this?" Both these teams I thought struggled, and both these teams it was a close game. It was a very close game until the end. Is this Are both these teams top 10 teams, or are they both top 20 teams?
I
That is my question. And yes, everyone can be like, "Well,
A&M
one."
A&M we have to I don't know if they're a top 20 team because the way that they played football there on that Saturday, I thought their offensive it was flipped. It was like we had questions about their offensive line. I thought their offensive line for the most part in pass pro was really good. Struggled, I thought, at times, specifically Crown over at tackle there. It, defensively, I thought you had questions in your secondary. I thought the secondary was really good for the most part. I thought Marcus Ratcliffe getting the start, by the way, that was awesome. And I thought he played well. I know he missed some tackles, but I thought he also made some big plays there too. And he's a guy who's not very experienced, so I would anticipate him getting better. The guy that disappointed me on the defensive side of the ball was two of them, Torian York and Shamar Turner. Very
Yeah,
disappointing. Shamar Turner, I think late in the game had a nice stop,
he
but
made
in
some
general,
grown plays, but
just like in general, wasn't the dominating force that I expected him to be, especially moving into the interior where he was recruited to play by Mike Elko. And then Torian York I thought Scooby Williams was flying around. Now, was he caught out of position in a couple plays for those long runs? A little bit, but I don't think like the Jadarian Price run was Scooby Williams' fault. Not at all. Torian York took a bad angle. Then you had Trey Jones, I think, take a bad angle, or whoever, or Bryce Anderson take a bad angle. So I thought Scooby Williams a big question mark on the defense for me was that second linebacker spot. And I thought he played awesome. I thought Damian Sanford was also pretty good there as well. I thought Torian York was underwhelming. I thought the defensive line as a whole was pretty underwhelming, even though they were like fine. They were like good, but they weren't like dominating like they should have against an offensive line like that. And then Connor Wigman, I was extremely disappointed in. And moving forward with Connor Wigman, sometimes that not being comfortable with where to go with the ball comes as a result of being in a new offense. And I understand that in the spring, right, he didn't really practice a lot because he did, but he was kind of battling an injury, right? In the spring game, he only played like one possession or two, maybe a quarter. And he looked okay. He didn't look great, but in fall camp, he looked pretty awesome. He was on time. I don't know what happened. I really do not know what happened. This is also the same Notre Dame secondary that held Caleb Williams to 199 yards and 3 picks last year.
Yep.
So I'm not out on Wigman. People that now I don't necessarily disagree with the people that are like, hey, maybe they should have played Marcel Reed in that fourth quarter because it was very evident that Connor Wigman wasn't comfortable. I'm not gonna necessarily argue with that. I think you're wrong, but I'm not gonna argue with you. Like if you think that, yeah, in that moment maybe another quarterback would have had a better chance of winning the football game. But I think Connor Wigman's the quarterback moving forward. I think we're gonna see him get better. I'm not out on him yet, but if we continue to see accuracy issues, which we've never seen from Connor Wigman before, we've never seen that. And if he continues to not be on time and get rid of the football appropriately and panic in clean pocket, this is the first time he's had clean pockets ever. And he's panicking back there. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
crazy. So, yeah, and he knows it in the press conference today. He's like, yeah, this loss was on me. And like, he was not good enough. And he really wasn't. And I don't think I'm going to hurt his feelings saying that if he ever listens to this. Uh, he's such a good football player, dude. He's so good in the times that we've seen him play full strength. Just it didn't happen for him this weekend. But look, he's got a tune-up game against McNeese State, and then he's got to go on the road, and he has to perform and win that game against Florida.
I think both those coaches, I know it's early in Elko, but both those programs I think are gonna be desperate for a win there. I was listen, A&M took a ton of transfers and they're implementing a brand new offensive and defensive scheme. So like I was I should have been expecting more growing pains. That's where I was like, why didn't I expect that? I see a lot of talent. I
But
said their
not
name.
this bad.
Yes, the coaching. This was a little bit concerning for sure.
And I'm a guy that I'm a guy that, I didn't bet it, but I took the under on this show, under eight
Yeah.
and a half wins. And but I also thought that they were going to win this football game, and I thought they were going to do it pretty handily. Uh,
Yeah.
Credit to Notre Dame, dude. Credit to Riley Leonard. I know Riley Leonard didn't look great, to be honest, but he
He's a
did
gamer,
enough.
man.
He did
He's a
enough, dude.
gamer.
He's a gamer. He's a gamer.
They ran the ball when they needed to. They ran the ball, and that was the
Absolutely.
concerning part on the
Very concerned.
road, or I guess at home for A&M. And that gaunted. And I asked you guys last week in the preview. I was like, listen, I look at this. I'm like, where's an edge for Notre Dame? And I see like, are they going to struggle to stop the run? And I think we were all surprised. We were all surprised with how well that offensive line played, getting better. And was of course these guys are going to. Yeah, it was impressive. It
We're
was
just
impressive.
like the sheer power of McKinley Jackson playing that one tech. Like you saw when he got hurt 2 years ago, that run defense fell apart. Last year, that run defense was one of the best run defenses in the entire country. This year, you don't have McKinley Jackson again, and DJ Hicks only plays 15 snaps. Gabriel Brownlow Dindy plays 0. Right? You have Albert Regis in there, but I don't know that he was good enough. Right,
He's
playing
not
43
special.
snaps. So yeah, it's pretty concerning for this Texas A&M team when you see Missouri's offense look awesome. You see LSU's defense look like they're improving. Texas obviously looked awesome, but they're playing Colorado State. Uh, yeah, you got Auburn's offense looking kind of revamped, even though they play an FCS team. But still, the point stands. I think we're going to reevaluate Texas A&M's schedule and start looking at these games. Even though they have some of these games at home, they're going to be tough games, man. They're going to be tough games. And if you start dropping those games on the road, like against Florida, you're going to be in a really tough situation. But yeah, it starts with Connor Wigman improving as well as the run defense and that linebacking core, to be honest. But I guess I don't know. There's so many issues, dude. There's so many issues. But Notre Dame, how about the offensive line, dude? Like we we've been talking about like for a while now that like we were gonna be so concerned because they had 3 freshmen basically on the offensive line, 2 redshirt freshmen, 1 true freshman, and they were pretty decent, man. I know they gave up like 14 pressures, but Ryan Leonard can handle it because he's like that. He's mobile. He's quick with the ball. He's a leader. He knows what's going on. He doesn't give up. He's never discouraged. But running the football was where I was extremely impressed. And now it was a lot of it just a couple explosive runs, yes, but doesn't matter. They got it done, dude. Credit to Notre Dame coming into a stadium for the first time since 2006, winning on the road in a stadium of 90 plus thousand people.
Well, that's first of all, that's a crazy stat. But secondly, going forward, Notre Dame. I mean, look at that schedule, and I see Louisville, and then I see USC at the end of the year, and you might have a playoff spot locked up by the time you travel to LA. You might be 11-0, and you gotta feel good. It's kind of a big exhale for Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame fans because you got past it, and now it's like let's regroup, let's get healthy, let's improve our already improving offensive line, who I thought was impressive, right? And get Riley Leonard maybe pushing the ball down the field, getting more in tune with his receivers. And damn it, man, and this Notre Dame team for sure, they can give teams problems potentially in the playoffs with that defense and with Leonard being tough to tackle, right? Even if you get pressure on him, he can avoid it for sure. So Notre Dame, man, it was awesome. And college football is better when Notre Dame's good too. I think they're one of those programs. Notre Dame, USC, Miami, like Virginia Tech's one of those, like Tennessee. These programs have been struggling recently, and that's past couple years are starting to see them get better and better. And it'll be fun this year. It'll be really fun, especially with the 12-team playoff. You're gonna see a lot of those teams being fighting for those spots.